Listen closely. This isn't another speech about productivity. This is a war cry. If you live with ADHD, you already know what it feels like to wake up every day on a battlefield. Your mind doesn't walk, it runs. It races. It jumps between universes while others crawl in straight lines. You feel everything. Every sound, every thought, every flicker of light. Louder, faster, and deeper than most people could ever understand. And yet, the world calls that a disorder. They call it deficit. They call it lack. But what if it isn't a lack at all? What if it's power? Untamed, untrained, and waiting to be forged into something unstoppable. The world wants your attention. Not some of it. All of it. Because attention is energy. It's life force. It's creation itself. And if they can drain your focus, they can drain your potential. They've built systems for it. Infinite scrolls, algorithmic traps, dopamine machines. They feed on your impulses and call it convenience. They whisper, just one more scroll, one more video, one more hit of novelty. They want your fire scattered. Because a scattered fire doesn't burn. It flickers, it fades, it dies quietly. But you were not born to flicker. You were born to ignite. You were born to be the storm that breaks patterns, the fire that burns through mediocrity, the one who doesn't need permission to create. The system is not broken. It's designed this way. Everything around you is engineered to make you forget who you are. Every app, every notification, every advertisement, it all serves one master: distraction. They've discovered the most dangerous truth, that a focused mind is impossible to control, and so they built a world that worships noise. You think you're just bad at focusing? Number. You're living in a psychological war zone, where billions of dollars are invested in making you lose concentration. Every beep, every ping, every red dot on your screen is a sniper aimed at your attention. But here's the paradox. Those with ADHD already live in chaos. They know how it feels to wrestle with the storm inside. That means, if we learn to command it, we become immune to the noise outside. Because once you master your own mind, no one can manipulate it. The battle begins the moment you wake. When you open your eyes, you're already being hunted, not by lions or wolves, but by distractions. The moment you check your phone, you've entered the arena. So how do you win? You treat your day like a military operation. Every hour is a mission. Every task is a target. Every moment of focus is a victory. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being deliberate. When you feel your mind racing, don't fight it. Direct it. Use your hyperfocus as a weapon. When your energy comes in waves, ride them like a warrior riding into battle. Not to survive, but to conquer. Structure isn't a prison. It's armor. Routines aren't boring. They're shields. And the moment you start treating them like discipline rather than punishment, you'll stop seeing your ADHD as a weakness and start using it as a superpower. The masses have already fallen. Look around you. Most people are slaves to stimulation. They spend hours scrolling, comparing, consuming, never creating. They call it relaxing, but what it really is surrender. They've forgotten what it feels like to build something from the ground up, to hold a vision so steady that nothing can break it. They drown in noise because silence terrifies them. But silence is where warriors sharpen their blades. You, the one with a restless mind. You were made for more than dopamine crumbs. You were made for creation, for focus, for greatness, born through friction. Your mind can see patterns others miss. You can connect ideas like constellations, while others stare at the dark. But to unlock that power, you must protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Discipline is the cure to chaos. They told you discipline kills creativity. They lied. Discipline is what allows creativity to survive in a world that profits from your distraction. Discipline gives your ideas a battlefield to stand on. Every time you choose to start instead of scroll, you win. Every time you say no to noise, you reclaim your mind. Every time you stick to your plan when your brain begs for novelty, you harden your armor. This war is not won overnight. It's won in tiny acts of rebellion repeated daily. It's won when you build systems that serve you instead of surrendering to systems designed to enslave you. Set boundaries for your mind, like walls around a sacred city. Guard your mornings, like they're holy ground. Because the first hours of the day determine who owns your focus, you or them. The odds are against you. Yes. And that's the point. Because you were not born to play fair. You were born to defy odds. Every person with ADHD who rises in this world does so against the current. But they also rise faster, higher, stronger. Because they have to. Pressure builds diamonds. Resistance builds warriors. You have to fight your own tendencies, the impulse, the forgetfulness, the flood of thoughts. But when you learn to tame your storm, you don't just compete, you dominate. When others are distracted, you're deep in flow. When others panic in chaos, you find clarity inside it. When others surrender to comfort, you thrive in discomfort. Because you've lived there. You've battled your own mind and survived. And those who can master their own chaos become the architects of the world's order. The stakes are higher than you think. This isn't about making money. This isn't about fame. This is about freedom. If you lose your attention, you lose your life. One distracted moment at a time. If you win, you gain something the modern world fears most. Sovereignty. You stop being prey and start becoming predator. Not in cruelty, but in control. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop being a passenger in your mind and start driving it. The world will never quiet down for you. So you must learn to find stillness within yourself. You must learn to focus in the noise. You must learn to act when others hesitate. This is the warrior's path, the one that demands pain, patience, and persistence. But in return, it gives you power, peace, and purpose. Your ADHD is not a curse, it's a catalyst. The same mind that forgets what it walked into a room for is also capable of building empires out of raw imagination. The same mind that struggles with consistency is the same one that can hyperfocus for hours on a mission that matters. Your brain isn't broken. It's wired for intensity. You just have to give it something worthy of that intensity. You have to pick a target and burn everything unnecessary in your path. You have to stop apologizing for your wiring and start training it. ADHD doesn't disqualify you from success. It prepares you for it. Because success isn't about who can focus the longest. It's about who can fight for focus the hardest. And no one fights harder than someone who's had to wrestle their own mind just to move forward. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wish for calm. Wish for clarity. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to fight through the noise. Don't try to fit in. Forge your own rhythm, your own systems, your own code of honor. Each morning, when your eyes open, tell yourself, the battle begins now. And the only question that matters is, will you fight or will you fall? Remember this, The world is designed to deplete you, but your fire is designed to rise. Guard it, fuel it, direct it. And one day they'll look at your victories and wonder how you did it with a mind they called a weakness. You'll smile, because you'll know the truth. They fought for your attention, but you fought for your soul, and you won. Step 1. Build the fortress. Protect your attention at all costs. If you want to win this war, understand one truth first. Your mind is not a playground. It's a battlefield. And your focus is the weapon everyone's trying to steal. The world doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your attention. That's what keeps it alive. Corporations, algorithms, media outlets, they all feast on it. Every app you open, every sound your phone makes, every urgent notification that lights up your screen is a hook thrown into your psyche, baited with instant gratification. They don't want you focused. They want you available. The ADHD mind is uniquely vulnerable to this war because it craves stimulation, like oxygen. The world learned this and designed itself to feed your impulses just enough to keep you trapped. Dopamine without purpose, movement without direction. You get addicted to starting things, to checking things, to consuming things, while the things that actually build your life rot quietly in the background. That's how they win. But now you know the game, and that means you can play it better. The first battle, guard the gates. Every morning you wake up, you enter the arena. The moment you reach for your phone, the battle begins. Those first 10 minutes of your day decide who commands your focus, you or them. You must build a ritual of sovereignty, a moment that reminds your mind who is in control. When you open your eyes, don't grab your phone. Don't check the world. The world can wait. Instead, check yourself. Breathe, journal, stretch, pray. Visualize your mission for the day. Do something that reinforces, I am the commander here. Because if you give your focus away before you've claimed it, you'll spend the rest of the day trying to take it back. Guard your mornings like sacred ground. No social media, no texts, no noise, only presence and preparation. The second battle, eliminate entry points. Your environment shapes your attention. The ADHD brain absorbs its surroundings like a sponge. So if you live in chaos, you think in chaos. Go through your space like a strategist preparing for siege. Remove visual clutter. Clean your workspace every night. Keep only the tools and notes relevant to today's mission within reach. Create visual cues that remind you what matters. A quote, a goal, a mantra. Every object in your field of vision is either serving your focus or stealing it. There is no neutral ground. A clear space breeds a clear mind. A chaotic space keeps your attention hostage. You can't win the war for focus if you're surrounded by open tabs, random piles, half-finished tasks, and blaring screens. Simplify your environment until it breathes calm into your nervous system. Then, from that stillness, begin your assault on the day. The third battle, manage your energy, not just your time. People with ADHD often believe they have a time management problem. They don't. They have an energy management problem. You have windows of hyperfocus, bursts of motivation, and sudden creative floods, followed by dips of fog, distraction, and fatigue. Instead of fighting this rhythm, work with it. Build your schedule around your natural energy cycles. Attack your hardest tasks during your peak hours. Use the valleys for light, mechanical work, organization, cleanup, simple tasks. Never waste a peak moment on something trivial. Protect those high-focus hours like treasure. No interruptions. No multitasking. This is where you build the empire brick by brick. Your focus is not limitless. Once it's gone for the day. Guard it with the ferocity of a soldier protecting sacred ground. The fourth battle. Declare war on noise. Noise is poison for the ADHD mind. Not just sound, but mental noise. Every time you allow 1,000 voices in your head, opinions, messages, scrolling, constant stimulation, you dilute your power. To rebuild your fortress, you must learn the ancient art of silence. Silence isn't emptiness. It's recovery. It's clarity. It's where focus regenerates. Take at least 30 minutes daily to step into silence. No music, no screens, no external input. Let your thoughts catch up to you. Let your mind settle from the storm of stimulation. If you can stand in silence and not reach for distraction, you are already stronger than 90% of the population. Because silence is the training ground of warriors. It's where you sharpen the sword of your mind. The fifth battle, the ritual of defense. Even the strongest fortress must be inspected daily. You don't build focus once. You maintain it through discipline. Create a nightly ritual that resets your defenses. Write down tomorrow's top 3 priorities. Eliminate tomorrow's distractions in advance. Charge your devices in another room. Clean your workspace. End the day with gratitude or reflection. That simple ritual does 2 things. It prepares your subconscious mind overnight for clarity. It ensures that when you wake up, you enter order, not chaos. The ADHD mind thrives on momentum. When you eliminate friction before it appears, you stop fighting yourself every morning. The fortress mindset. This isn't about becoming cold or robotic. It's about becoming sovereign. You build the fortress not to block the world out, but to filter what gets in. You don't owe your focus to everyone who asks for it. You owe it to your purpose. Every time you choose silence over noise, presence over distraction, creation over consumption, you're not just being productive. You're winning the war for your soul. And that's what the world fears most. A mind they can't manipulate. Because a focused individual cannot be controlled. So guard your mind like it's sacred. Because it is. Your attention is the gateway to your destiny. And every battle you win for it brings you closer to freedom. Build your fortress. Protect your focus. Reclaim your power. The war begins every morning, and your victory begins with silence. Step 2. Turn the storm into a weapon. Your mind is not quiet. It's a storm. Lightning-fast thoughts, roaring emotions, tidal waves of curiosity and distraction, all colliding in constant motion. For most people, this storm is chaos. For you, it's potential. Because the same force that threatens to pull you apart can also propel you further than most minds will ever reach if you learn to wield it. This is the paradox of ADHD. What makes life harder can also make greatness inevitable. But only if you stop trying to silence the storm and start learning to command it. The truth about the storm. People with ADHD often grow up being told their mind is a problem, that they can't focus, that they're unreliable, that they lack consistency. They're taught to shrink, to conform, to dull their flame in a world that worships monotony. But your storm isn't the enemy. The enemy is misdirection. When you don't control your energy, it turns inward, eating you alive with guilt, anxiety, and self-doubt. When you do control it, it becomes fuel, explosive, limitless, unstoppable. The question isn't whether you have energy. You already have too much. The question is whether you can aim it. You must learn to channel chaos into creation. That's the art. That's the weapon. That's your edge. Harness the fire, set clear targets. Your brain needs stimulation, but not all stimulation is created equal. Scrolling through meaningless noise gives you a cheap dopamine hit. Building something meaningful gives you fulfillment. One weakens you, the other awakens you. You can't just say, "I'll work hard today." Your brain doesn't respond to vague orders. It needs missions. Every morning, define your battlefield. What must be done today? What will move you closer to mastery? What one victory will make all other efforts easier or unnecessary? Don't chase a dozen goals at once. Pick one. Aim your fire directly at it. Because ADHD energy doesn't fade from exhaustion, it fades from confusion. When you know where to strike, you can unleash all that restless power, like a precision weapon instead of a wild explosion. You don't need more motivation. You need more direction. Ride the waves of hyperfocus. You felt it before. Those rare moments when time disappears, distractions vanish, and you become one with what you're doing. That's hyperfocus. It's your superpower. But like fire, it burns both ways. It can forge gold or turn everything to ash. If you fall into hyperfocus on meaningless tasks, scrolling, gaming, perfecting tiny details that don't matter, your energy drains into the void. But if you learn to trigger that state intentionally toward creation, learning, or building something lasting, you become a force of nature. To do this, build rituals that summon focus. Create a specific playlist that signals to your brain it's time to work. Use lighting, scents, or environment triggers that anchor focus. Start with a small, easy task to ignite momentum. Once you're in that zone, protect it. Turn off notifications, block interruptions. Guard that energy like a sacred flame. And when the wave ends, because it always does, rest without guilt. Don't curse your energy for fading. Respect the cycle. You don't need to live in hyperfocus 24/7. You just need to master entering it at will. Learn the art of controlled impulse. Impulsivity is a double-edged sword. It can ruin your progress or accelerate it faster than logic allows. The key is not to suppress your impulses, but to redirect them. Before reacting, train yourself to ask one question. Will this action move me toward strength or toward weakness? If it strengthens you, act immediately. If it weakens you, wait. ADHD minds thrive on movement, so instead of resisting every urge, give your impulses constructive outlets. When your brain demands novelty, switch to a creative task. When you crave stimulation, learn a new skill. When you feel restless, move your body. Don't suppress your energy. Reroute it. That's how you keep your mind in motion without losing control of direction. The weapon of curiosity. Curiosity is your greatest asset, but also your greatest trap. It makes you endlessly fascinated by everything. But if you're not careful, it scatters your power into a million unfinished ideas. You must learn to channel curiosity within boundaries. When a new idea hits, write it down. But don't chase it yet. Keep a war chest of ideas, but only act on one at a time. Think of yourself as a commander. You can't send your entire army into 10 different battles. You pick the one that wins the war, then move to the next. Your ADHD gives you endless imagination. Use it like radar, not a steering wheel. Let curiosity reveal opportunities, but let discipline decide where to go. Because a curious mind without direction drowns. A curious mind with focus conquers. Flow state, where the storm becomes stillness. When you fully harness your energy, something magical happens. The chaos disappears. Your thoughts, emotions, and instincts synchronize. The noise becomes clarity. You stop fighting your nature and start flowing with it. This is the highest state of human performance, and ADHD minds are built for it. You just have to train your entry. When you find that state, protect it like life itself. Don't break it to check your phone. Don't explain it to others. Don't let anyone interrupt it. Because in that moment, you are more than just someone with ADHD. You are a storm, balanced, conscious, and unstoppable. The forging of the storm. To turn your storm into a weapon is to master paradox. It means being both wild and disciplined, intense and strategic, chaotic and controlled. That's what separates those who fall from those who rise. You don't need to become calm. You need to become conscious. You don't need to silence the storm. You need to aim it. Every burst of energy, every surge of curiosity, every restless thought, these are not weaknesses to cure. They are forces to direct. Most people will never understand what it's like to live in your head. That's fine. They don't have to. They're not built for war. You are. When you stop resisting your mind and start training it, you become something rare. Someone who can not only survive chaos, but create through it. Your thoughts move faster. Your instincts are sharper. Your ideas carry the force of 10 ordinary minds. You are not disordered. You are different by design. The storm inside you isn't your downfall. It's your forge. And the moment you learn to wield it, the world will finally see what you were always capable of becoming. Turn your storm into a weapon, and let the noise tremble when you strike. Step 3. Discipline is the bridge between chaos and control. Let's speak the truth no one wants to hear. The ADHD mind doesn't lack potential. It lacks containment. You don't struggle because you're lazy. You struggle because your fire burns without borders. Your brain is like a forge without walls. Flames everywhere. Energy endless. But no structure to hold its power. That's where discipline comes in. Not as punishment, not as control, but as the bridge that carries you from chaos to command. Most people think discipline is about restriction, about forcing yourself to be something you're not. But for those of us with storm-filled minds, discipline is freedom. It's what allows you to channel your unpredictability into precision. It's what turns random bursts of energy into consistent progress. And it's what separates those who burn out from those who build empires. The lie of motivation. Motivation is the spark, but sparks don't sustain fire. The ADHD mind is drawn to novelty. It craves stimulation, not repetition. That's why motivation dies so quickly. You start strong, but when the thrill fades, the mind wanders, searching for the next high. The masses will tell you, you just need to stay motivated. But warriors know better. You don't wait for motivation. You forge momentum through discipline. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is strategic. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline ignores how you feel and moves anyway. When your brain says, I don't feel like it, that's when discipline must speak louder. Because your emotions are temporary, but your mission is eternal. The system saves you when your mind won't. If you have ADHD, you can't rely on memory or willpower alone. You must build systems that catch you when your focus falls. Your brain craves structure, but it will never build it on its own. You have to design it like a fortress. Use checklists. They externalize focus. They turn chaos into visible order. Use alarms and reminders. They don't make you weak. They make you armed. Break everything into micro tasks. Finish the book becomes write 100 words. Clean the kitchen becomes clear 1 counter. Each micro task you complete is a battle won. Each checkmark is a small victory for the warrior inside. The ADHD brain isn't wired for long, abstract timelines. It thrives on immediate feedback. Give it that. Reward it. Every completed task, no matter how small, builds momentum. Because structure doesn't suffocate creativity, it sustains it. Routine is ritual. The average person lives by routine unconsciously. But for you, routine must be sacred. It's not about repeating the same motions. It's about building consistency into your identity. Every time you repeat an action, your brain rewires itself to make it easier next time. This is called neural plasticity. And discipline, repeated daily, rewires your chaos into control. Create routines that fit your rhythm, not the world's. Morning routines to ground your mind before the world invades. Work routines to enter flow faster and protect against distraction. Evening routines to discharge your energy and prepare for rest. The ADHD brain thrives on predictability in an unpredictable world. Ritual gives it safety. Safety gives it control. Control gives it focus. Your routine isn't a cage, it's armor. You don't do it because you have to. You do it because without it, the world will tear your mind apart piece by piece. Discipline is forged in repetition, not perfection. The enemy of progress is all or nothing thinking. If I can't do it perfectly, why try? If I miss one day, I've failed. This mindset is poison. Discipline isn't perfection. It's consistency. It's returning to the path every time you fall. Because you will fall. You'll forget. You'll procrastinate. You'll break your schedule. But warriors don't measure victory by how few times they fall. They measure it by how fast they rise again. When you mess up, analyze. Don't agonize. Ask yourself, why did I slip? What triggered the distraction? How can I build a system that prevents it next time? Every mistake is feedback. Every lapse is data. Every restart is strength. And over time, this repetition builds endurance. You stop needing to force discipline. It becomes your default operating system. Structure is strength, not shackles. The world will tell you structure kills creativity. They're wrong. Discipline is what allows creativity to survive long enough to matter. Without structure, your ideas drown in distraction. Without discipline, your dreams die in drafts. You can be a visionary and still be structured. You can be wild and still be precise. You can be free and still be disciplined. The balance of those truths, that's mastery. Think of structure as scaffolding for your greatness. You can remove it later, but right now, it's what allows you to build something that lasts. The ritual of non-negotiables. Every warrior needs commandments, lines you refuse to cross no matter what. These are your non-negotiables. They anchor you when your focus drifts. Examples. I don't touch my phone for the first hour after waking. I work out every day, even if only for 10 minutes. I write something before I consume anything. I plan tomorrow before I sleep. These are not rules. They are vows. They remind you that you are the commander of your mind, not its servant. Because every time you break a vow, your mind forgets its place. But every time you honor it, you reinforce your identity as a warrior in control. Discipline is self-respect in action. You don't stay disciplined because someone's watching. You stay disciplined because you are. Each act of self-discipline is a declaration of worth. a refusal to abandon your potential to chaos. It's saying, I deserve to follow through. It's saying, my focus is sacred. It's saying, I will not betray myself again. Discipline is the language through which self-respect speaks. When you show up consistently, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one's clapping, you train your subconscious to believe you are unstoppable. And when your subconscious believes that, the world starts to bend in your favor. The warrior's creed of discipline. You won't always feel strong. You won't always feel focused. But your strength is proven in the moments you don't feel it and move anyway. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's built quietly in the moments when no one is watching. When you choose action over impulse, purpose over comfort, honor over ease. That's when the real transformation happens. Because the ADHD mind is a beautiful paradox. Wild yet capable of surgical precision. Unpredictable yet capable of relentless routine. Chaotic yet divine. But none of that power can be unlocked without the bridge, without discipline. So build it. Strengthen it. Walk it every single day. And when you do, you'll realize that discipline was never your enemy. It was your destiny. The path from the storm to mastery. Step 4. Channel your hyperfocus into purpose, not escapism. There's a silent paradox inside every ADHD mind. The same brain that struggles to focus for 5 minutes can sometimes lock onto a single task for hours, forgetting time, hunger, and everything else. That's hyperfocus. It's both a gift and a curse. The nuclear core of your potential, and the most dangerous trap you'll ever face. Because when it's aimed in the right direction, hyperfocus can make you unstoppable. But when it's hijacked by dopamine traps, it can make you a prisoner of your own mind. This step is about learning to control that nuclear power, to channel your focus toward creation instead of escape. Because if you don't decide where your energy goes, the world will decide for you. The double-edged sword of hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is intensity without awareness. It's being locked in, but not always locked onto the right thing. It's why someone with ADHD can binge an entire series without blinking, but struggle to finish an assignment that matters. Why they can fall into a 6-hour scroll hole, yet say they can't focus. The truth? They can focus, but their focus has been hijacked. Every algorithm, every app, every advertisement is engineered to exploit this exact trait. They weaponize novelty because your brain runs on dopamine, and novelty gives you hits of it. So you get stuck in a loop of low-value stimulation that feels rewarding in the moment, but leaves you empty when it's over. That's not weakness, that's wiring. But wiring can be rewired. The shift from consumption to creation. You must retrain your brain to associate dopamine with building instead of escaping. Right now, your mind gets dopamine from consumption. Scrolling, games, videos, endless novelty. But dopamine itself isn't evil. It's simply your brain's way of rewarding behavior. So you don't need to destroy dopamine. You need to redirect it. Start rewarding progress instead of stimulation. Every time you complete a task, no matter how small, recognize it. Celebrate it. Mark it down. That little hit of satisfaction teaches your brain that creation feels good. Over time, you'll start craving the rush of completion more than the buzz of distraction. And that's when everything changes. Because once you've linked dopamine to purpose, you stop running from your mind and start running it. Design triggers for flow. The ADHD brain doesn't fall into focus. It transitions into it through stimulation, repetition, and rhythm. You can use that to your advantage. You can create rituals that trigger your focus, the same way certain songs or smells trigger memories. Here's how. Anchor your environment. Create one spot that signals work only. When you sit there, your brain knows it's go time. Use sensory cues. A specific playlist, scent, or lighting can act as a mental switch that shifts you from chaos to clarity. Countdown initiation. Use a short ritual. A 5-second countdown. A deep breath. A verbal cue like lock in. It sounds small, but it tells your brain, we're entering battle mode now. When repeated often, these small rituals condition your brain to associate those triggers with hyperfocus. Eventually, you won't need to wait for motivation. You'll be able to enter flow on command. That's when your mind stops being your opponent and becomes your ally. Guard your focus. Like sacred flame. Once you enter that zone, that tunnel of absolute concentration, the world will try to pull you out. Messages, notifications, random thoughts, people knocking on your door. Understand this. Every interruption is an act of war against your progress. Protect your hyperfocus like it's a sacred fire in a storm. Silence your phone. Block websites that drain you. Let people know you're in your zone and unavailable. Set timers for breaks so you don't burn out, but only on your terms. You must become ruthless about what gets your attention once you're locked in, because every distraction steals momentum, and momentum is everything. You can lose 3 minutes to an interruption and 3 hours trying to get back into that flow. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. The mirror test. Are you escaping or evolving? Before diving into anything, a task, a project, even a hobby, ask yourself one simple question. Is this feeding me or draining me? If it feeds you, if it moves you closer to your purpose, teaches you, grows you, fulfills you, dive in without hesitation. If it drains you, if it's numbing you, distracting you, or keeping you from facing your next step, stop. Because hyperfocus isn't inherently good or bad. It's neutral energy. It becomes your greatest strength or your greatest weakness, depending on where you point it. Ask yourself, will I be proud I did this when the fog lifts? Is this helping me evolve or just helping me escape? That single moment of awareness before the dive determines whether you build or self-destruct. Create a system of meaningful flow. When you direct hyperfocus into creation, you must also create systems that sustain it. Because if you go too hard, too fast, you'll burn out. And the burnout will drag you back into escapism. So, build structure for your intensity. Work in focused bursts, like 45 to 60 minutes, followed by short, complete breaks. During breaks, avoid screens, move your body, breathe, walk outside. Keep visual reminders of your long-term goal nearby. It reminds your mind why the task matters. You're not fighting against your hyperfocus, you're taming it. You're turning a wild flame into a controlled inferno. This is how you move from chasing dopamine to creating destiny. The pitfall, productive escapism. Here's a trap only warriors of focus understand. Productive distraction. Sometimes, you'll start hyper-focusing on tasks that feel productive, but don't actually move you forward. Endless organization, research rabbit holes, rewriting the same paragraph for perfection. They make you feel busy, but they're not progress. They're comfort disguised as discipline. The cure is ruthless honesty. When you find yourself buried in a task, ask, is this the mission Or am I just avoiding the real battle? The ADHD mind is clever. It will disguise avoidance as productivity. Call it out. Refocus. Return to the mission. You can't afford to waste that sacred fire on things that don't matter. The rebirth of focus. When you learn to channel hyperfocus toward purpose, something extraordinary happens. You no longer chase dopamine, you earn it. You no longer drown in distraction, you use it as data. You no longer fear your own mind, you master it. Your work becomes deeper. Your creativity becomes sharper. Your presence becomes magnetic. And the same mind that once made you feel broken becomes the exact weapon that propels you past everyone who underestimated you. Hyperfocus is sacred. Treat it like power, because that's exactly what it is. Raw power. It's not meant to be wasted on noise or cheap stimulation or endless consumption. It's meant to build worlds. Use it to create, to grow, to fight, to build something that outlasts the short-term rushes that the world tries to feed you. Once you do that, once you learn to direct that beam of raw energy into something meaningful, you'll no longer fear the storm of your mind. You'll realize it was never chaos. It was concentrated creation, waiting to be aimed. When the world tries to sell you distractions, remember, your mind is a weapon, and every second of hyperfocus is ammunition. Aim wisely, fire deliberately, and leave nothing wasted. Step 5. Wage war daily. Victory is repetition. This is the final battlefield. Not the flash of insight, not the moment of motivation, but the grind. The endless rhythm of war that beats day after day, where the real battle is not fought in grand victories, but in quiet repetition. For those of us with ADHD, repetition feels unnatural. Routine feels restrictive. Predictability feels suffocating. We crave novelty, change, and stimulation. But what most never realize is that true freedom lives inside repetition. Because repetition is not monotony. Repetition is mastery. It's the slow sharpening of the blade, the steady construction of the fortress, the consistent march of progress that transforms chaos into destiny. Victory isn't something you achieve once. It's something you maintain every day, through discipline, awareness, and relentless return to the mission. Every day is a battlefield. The war for your focus never ends. You win it today, and tomorrow, it begins again. That's not a punishment, it's an invitation. Because every new dawn is another chance to become stronger, sharper, more dangerous. The ADHD mind is not static. It's reactive. You don't get to set it and forget it. You have to command it daily. Every morning, when you wake, understand. You are not easing into the day. You are deploying into battle. Your first thoughts, your first actions, your first hour, that's when you plant your flag. If you wake up drifting, scrolling, reacting, you've already surrendered. But if you wake up with intention, silence, and structure, you've already won the first battle of the day. You must live as if the world is trying to take your focus, because it is. And the moment you forget that, you become prey again. So treat every day like war. Not because life should be joyless, but because greatness demands vigilance. Consistency is the most violent act of rebellion. In a world addicted to distraction, consistency is an act of defiance. The masses want you impulsive, reactive, emotional. They want you clicking, scrolling, consuming. They want your attention scattered so you never realize your power. But when you stay consistent, when you show up day after day, unshaken by trends or moods, you become dangerous. Because you start doing what few can sustain. You become immune to the noise. Your results compound quietly until one day, people call it talent. No, it wasn't talent. It was repetition. It was the warrior's vow to keep striking, even when nothing seems to move. Consistency doesn't always feel heroic. It often feels invisible. But invisibility is the birthplace of greatness. You may not see the progress today or tomorrow, but every act of consistency carves its mark into time. You don't need intensity for a week. You need discipline for a lifetime. The law of incremental war. You won't rebuild your life in a day. You'll rebuild it in inches. Small steps, small wins, small acts of honor repeated until they harden into victory. The ADHD brain loves big ideas. It wants transformation now. But your transformation will come from learning to love the small. 15 minutes of focused work done daily beats 5 hours of chaos once a week. 1% improvement compounded every day creates mastery within a year. One victory stacked upon another becomes momentum, and momentum becomes power. Don't underestimate the micro. The smallest routine, the simplest action, when repeated with intention, rewires your identity. Every day you do what you said you would do, you send a message to your subconscious. I am becoming unstoppable. And the subconscious listens. It starts to obey the new rhythm you feed it, one built on structure, not impulse. You are training your own mind like a soldier. And the drills matter. Because repetition isn't weakness. It's weaponization, the armor of imperfect progress. Let's make this clear. You will not win every day. There will be days when you fail, when the distractions win, when your fire fades and you fall back into the noise. That's okay. Warriors don't expect perfection. They expect resistance. When you fall, don't spiral. Don't declare defeat. Don't feed the guilt. Analyze. Adjust. Attack again. Failure is feedback. Every setback teaches you where your defenses were weak. Every relapse reveals where your fortress needs reinforcement. Do not fear falling. Fear staying down. Because perfection isn't the standard. Persistence is. Progress is not linear. It's cyclical. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But if you keep moving, if you keep fighting, if you keep showing up even when it feels pointless, you'll look up one day and realize the war is shifting in your favor. Because you don't need to win every battle to win the war. You just need to refuse surrender. Ritualize your victory. Every warrior needs ceremony. A daily act that reinforces identity. Create rituals of victory. End your day by reflecting on what you did right, not just what went wrong. Write down your wins, even the smallest ones, and let your brain taste progress. Visualize your mission before sleep. Plant tomorrow's purpose in your subconscious. These rituals build confidence in your nervous system. They teach your body that repetition equals reward, that effort equals meaning. Most people let their days blend together. Warriors separate them with intention, closure, and recalibration. You don't drift from day to day. You march, you deploy, you conquer. Every repetition becomes ritual. Every ritual becomes identity. Every identity becomes destiny. So here we are, at the end of the blueprint, staring into the mirror that never lies. This war was never about the world outside of you. It was always about the one raging within. You live in a time where attention is currency, and they are buying your soul cheap. They've engineered distraction into every corner of your life. They don't need to chain your body when they can scatter your mind. But you are done being prey. You are done being pulled in 1,000 directions. You are done being drained by invisible leeches. that feed on your focus. Because now, you know the truth. Your mind is not broken. It's powerful beyond measure. Your energy is not the problem. It's the raw material of greatness. Your ADHD is not your weakness. It's the storm you were born to command. You have learned to build the fortress. You have learned to aim the storm. You have learned to walk the bridge of discipline and channel your intensity toward purpose. You have learned that the war is daily, and victory is repetition. Each day you rise is another declaration of war against mediocrity. Each moment you choose focus over impulse is a blade drawn against the system that profits from your weakness. Each act of discipline is rebellion. Each small victory is a revolution. You are not here to survive this world. You are here to outthink it, outlast it, and outbuild it. The world may run on noise, but you will run on clarity. While others chase novelty, you will pursue mastery. While others surrender to distraction, you will sharpen your mind until it cuts through the fog like steel. You will fall, yes, but you will rise faster. You will fall again, but you will return stronger. Because warriors don't seek peace in the chaos. They become it. Every morning, when you wake up, you begin again. That is not failure. That is power. Because repetition is not weakness. It is proof that you still fight. You are not a victim of your wiring. You are the architect of your destiny. Your thoughts are your soldiers. Your focus is your weapon. Your discipline is your command. And the war for your attention is the war for your freedom. So fight. Not with fear, but with precision. Not with chaos, but with control. Not with doubt, but with direction. Turn your ADHD into a blade that cuts through the noise of this hollow world. Turn your restlessness into momentum. Turn your intensity into invention. Turn your inconsistency into evolution. Because the masses are not your mirror. They are your warning. They live in reaction. You will live in creation. They chase dopamine. You will command it. They exist for comfort. You will live for victory. Remember this. Each day is not just another day. It's another chance to sharpen the edge. To rise again, to push forward, to build something that outlives distraction. And when you finally stand on the other side, when the noise fades, when the system can no longer pull your strings, when you have forged mastery from madness, the world will look at you and wonder how you did it. And you will say nothing. Because warriors don't explain, they embody. You will simply stand in the silence you built and let your results speak for you. Carpe noctem. The war for your focus will never end, but neither will your rise.